This is Endrin, a chemical found in the 1950s and then mass produced in the 1950s as a pesticide to kill rodents and pests in crop farms. It was used in crop farms such as rice, sugarcane, and cotton, but later found out that there are some negative effects when using this pesticide. We'll get to that in a second, though. The real question is, what is it and what is it made of? Let's find out. Okay, then, what is Endrin made of? Let's see. Carbon, hydrogen, chlorine, and oxygen. How many atoms of you is there?
12.
How many atoms of you is there?
8,
You?
6.
What about you?
2.
Together they make?
Endrin.
Okay, now that you know what it's made of, what are its chemical properties? Its weight is 380.9 grams per mole. At room temperature, it's a colorless to tan crystalline solid, and it has a small, faint chemical odor. It decomposes before melting and boiling around 200 degrees Celsius. It's practically insoluble in water and pretty stable in air, only breaking down a little bit in light or heat. So this is what Endrin looks like as a bond line diagram. And this is what it looks like as a 3D model. Bend it around a little bit. Because of this rigid, almost cage-like structure of the 6 chlorine atoms in the oxygen bridge, it makes it very, very stable, which means it is very, very hard to break down in nature, which means it stays around for a long time. That being said, Endrin is a very toxic chemical to humans. There's a lot of science behind it, but the simple way of putting it is it attacks the brain's nervous system, which then blocks the brain's ability to calm itself, which then leads to uncontrollable nerve firing, which can lead to severe seizures, loss of control, and sometimes even death. Now that we know more of the basic knowledge of Endrin, let's kind of figure out what the background is and where it came from. Endrin is an organochlorine compound with the chemical formula C12H8Cl6 and HO. It was first produced in the 1950s by Shell and Visco Chemical Corporation, and it was primarily used as an insecticide as well as a rodenticide and a pesticide. It is a colorless, odorless solid. Although commercial samples were often off-white, Endrin was manufactured as an emulsifiable solution commercially known as Endrix. The compound became infamous as a persistent organic pollutant, and for this reason it had been banned in many countries. Does Endrin have any enantiomers, molecules that perform the similar function? It has one. It's called dieldrin. It has the same chemical formula, but just a different chemical structure. There are also 2 molecules that have the same chemical formula but are missing the oxygen atom. Those 2 molecules would be isodrin and aldrin. So through my research, I found that Endrin is actually a part of a compound family called the organochloride family. An organochlorine is a compound that is made up of 1 or more carbon to chlorine bonds. Whilst also being a part of that family, Endrin is part of a subfamily called chlorinated cyclodienes. These are highly toxic, persistent organic pesticides that contain a 6-membered carbonic ring. Okay, so now to the main part of why I want to nominate this molecule as Villain of the Year. Endrin has been banned in the United States for over 40 years and has not been locally produced since then. However, it can still be found in things such as lakes and fish because it is insoluble in water, so it stays in water. So then the fish get the disease, and then a bird eats the fish, and it can spread in many different ways like that. So in 1962, there was a shipping container heading to Saudi Arabia coming from what my sources say, probably the United States. Well, the Endrin had fell over and polluted the flour. The flour was then sent to the people in Saudi Arabia, and those people used the flour to make bread. As you can guess from here, the people who ate the bread had been infected with Endrin poisoning, killing 27 people and hospitalizing more than 400 people. With that horrific story and many others, such as 2 people being infected with taquitos with Endrin poisoning, I would like to nominate Endrin as Molecular Villain of the Year.